We've got something really cool to show you today. Here is a limited edition Lemania automatic chronograph that was released at the end of 2012. As you may know, Lemania is a movement manufacturer established in 1884 and acquired by the Swatch Group in 1999. They make movements exclusively for Breguet, so it's unusual to see them making watches. Why do they make this one? To protect their trademark. It depends on the country, but generally trademark laws stipulate that if you don't produce goods bearing the mark for 3 to 5 years, you're essentially abandoning it. So to avoid the trademark falling into someone else's hands, the Swatch Group released a limited run of Lemania chronographs. Lemania is celebrated for their history-making movements, especially chronographs like the 5100, so why they chose to make a whole watch I don't know, especially since they didn't put a ton of effort into making it something special. We'll get into it more, but it's essentially a white-labeled Tissot PRC 200. Still, it's a really interesting piece with some raw collectability to it. Let's start with the movement. Inside is an ETA caliber C01.211, which is a 15 joule automatic chronograph movement. It's based on Lemania's caliber 5100 chronograph, which was a 17 joule auto chronograph that was inexpensive, accurate, and incredibly shock resistant. Tutima and Zinn supplied watches to the German military using the 5100. And the 5100 had a central stopwatch minutes hand, a 24-hour indicator at 12 o'clock, a running seconds hand at 9 o'clock, and a 12-hour totalizer at 6. The C01.211 doesn't have a central stopwatch minutes hand, and instead the minutes totalizer rests at 12. The running seconds hand is still at 9, but the hour totalizer at 6 counts 6 hours instead of 12. You can see through the sapphire case back that it's relatively undecorated. I'm not sure why they went with an exhibition case back. It's interesting about the movement is it's the exact same one used in both the sub $1,000 Tissot PRC 200 Auto Chrono and the same movement used in the Swatch Auto Chrono that retails for about $350. The stainless steel case is taken directly from the Tissot PRC 200 Auto Chrono. The ridges on the side of the case are a dead giveaway. It's a good looking design, but these ridges are so characteristic of the PRC 200 models that it's hard to appreciate them on another watch. It's really the same case throughout with the same lug, screw down crown, and pushers. It measures 43 millimeters wide by 50 millimeters tall. It's a thick one at 16 millimeters, and it's got a satisfying heft to it. You have sapphire crystal on the front and back, and through the back you can see the Lemania 5100 base caliber. The dial is a basic black with white minutes track and raised and loomed hour markers. The white on black is legible, but overall the dial design is simple if not a bit pedestrian. It's not a clone of a Tissot dial, although it's not really that far off in style either. At 12 o'clock is the minute sub-dial. On the opposite side you have the 6-hour totalizer, then at 9 you have the running seconds. The hour and minutes hands are polished steel and have this subtle sword shape. The red stopwatch seconds hand is the best part of the dial. The color and dramatic counterbalance is reminiscent of 70s chronographs that use the 5100 from the likes of Heuer and Omega. The date aperture rests at 3 o'clock just to the right of the Lemania mark and just above the automatic that traces the curve of the dial's edge. This comes on a black leather strap. It's a thick half leather with some off-white stitching, very basic and no frills. Even the clasp is unsigned. The look of the dial and the strap are safe and fine for everyday wear, although the watch sits high on the wrist and not everyone could sneak it under a shirt cuff. It's not a bad-looking watch by any means, but I'm not particularly smitten with its aesthetics. It's a very middle-of-the-road design, very safe, and I think that's fine because the story behind this watch is what makes it so collectible. Watches take us to interesting places, and this one took us to the intersection of watchmaking history and trademark law. It went for $890 when it released, and while they're all probably spoken for, if you do find them for sale online, they don't tend to deviate a whole lot from the original retail value. A lot of limited edition watches tend to either be really expensive or really impractical, and what's particularly nice about this model is that it's neither of those. So it's a great addition to a collection, and it really won't kill your wallet.